Coach Adam. I'm a functional bodybuilding coach and physical therapist. Today we're going to go through shoulder mobility. All you need today is a bench, and even if you don't have a bench, you can use some form of a couch, bed, any really elevated surface that you'll be able to put your arms up on to do a couple of our stretches today. So we're going to start with a nice easy warm up, just shoulder circles, very nice slow and control. We're going to go one arm at a time. I'm going to place my other arm here on my rib cage just to pay attention to what my rib cage is doing. I don't want to see it flare up too high. I obviously don't want to round forward as I go to move my arm. So just putting my arm here, minimizing movement through my rib cage, and then I'm going to start to move my arm. Nice, slow, controlled, big circle, just allowing the shoulder to rotate naturally as it gets towards that top position. And then I'm going to circle it back. Same thing. I'm going to keep a little tension in my hand, making a little bit of a fist. As I come up, I'm reaching up towards the ceiling, again allowing that shoulder to rotate naturally, just checking in with where my rib cage is, making sure I'm not flaring too much. I'm just going to do about 5 per side. And one more. And then we're going to switch sides. You may get a little, clicking, popping, things like that. It's okay. Don't chase any clicking and popping. Don't aim for any clicking and popping, but if it's happening, it's okay. We'll do this again at the end, just so you can recheck. Is it a little bit smoother, a little bit more comfortable as we do it after some of our passive stretching. But again, we're just using this as a nice, easy warm-up before we get into some of our static stretching. Good. And I'll say it one more time because it's important. Allow that shoulder to rotate naturally as it gets to that top position. Let's go ahead one more. Good. So we're going to move into our shoulder extension stretch. So shoulder extension is this position, arm going back. I want you to think of our stretches today more as the position that we're trying to improve instead of the muscles that we're trying to lengthen. While we are in this position, we will be stretching some of the pecs, some of the bicep. I want you to think about it more as we're improving this shoulder extension position so that when you go to do your dips or your bench press, you now have a little bit more comfortable range in that position. So we're going to use our bench for this first stretch. Arms are just going to be back on the bench, like so. And then you're going to keep your shoulder blades down and back, not letting them round forward in this stretch position. There's a couple different ways you can do this stretch, and we're going to hold for about a minute. So you can go palms down. If it's more comfortable, you can go palms up. You can adjust your position by coming up higher so it's a little bit less aggressive, or you can even slide your feet out in front. Again, getting those shoulder blades down and back. And this is a little bit more of an aggressive stretch. So I'm going to hang here for the rest of our minute. Like all of our static stretching, trying to exhale. Nice, slow, and control. Relax into the position. So every time you take an exhale, see if you can sink just a little bit deeper into this stretch position. Keep checking in with yourself. Shoulder blades down and back. Don't let them round forward. Okay, we're coming up on that minute. This is totally optional. If you want to just continue to do a passive stretch through this portion, that's totally fine. But just like we did last week, we're going to add a little bit of contractions to this stretch position just to start to gain more control in these end ranges. So the first contraction, you're going to push your hands or your arms down into the bench. I'm pressing just very lightly. If I can increase a little bit of intensity, I'll go for it as long as it's comfortable. We're going to hold for about 10 or 20 seconds. And then we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to try to pull the arms away from the bench without allowing my shoulders to tip forward. Pulling those shoulders or arms away from the bench, and I'm holding, lifting up towards the ceiling. Again, I'm already in my end range stretch position, so it makes sense that I'm not able to move any farther, but the goal is that I'm just contracting the muscles in these positions, again, to start to gain a little more control in these positions. And I hold 10 to 20 seconds and relax. So now we're going to move through this shoulder extension position with just an active shoulder extension drill. So arms are going to be behind. Again, you might need to modify a little bit based on how comfortable you are in this shoulder extension position. The arms may need to come out a little bit wider if your mobility is not great. If you can bring the arms in close, that's what you're aiming for. So you're going to use your heels, you're going to push into the ground, and you're going to pull your butt away from your hands. Again, stretching into the shoulder extension position, and then I push back. Okay? Stretch and hold. keeping those shoulder blades back. I don't want to let them round forward. And then coming back. We're just going to do 5, holding for about 3 to 5 seconds in that end position. So I pull myself forward, stretch into shoulder extension, and I bring it back. Okay? Let's go 2 more. Again, same with on this one. Exhale when you're in this position. Try to relax in this position. See if you can pull yourself just a little bit farther on each rep. Good. And now my last shoulder extension drill, we're going to go on the stomach. And this is going to be the most active of the 3 drills that we've just done. So I'm going to go face down. Arms are going to be down at my side. I'm going to lift the arms away from the floor towards the ceiling as far as I can, and I'm going to hold in that end position. So I'm going to lift, I'm going to hold, we're going to hold for about 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax back down. We're going to do 5 reps. Each rep, I want you to hold as hard as you can in the top position, maximal contraction. Again, up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Rep number 3, hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, we got 2 more. Take a little rest in between if needed. This should be a little bit challenging. You know, we're aiming for a really strong contraction in that end range. Good, and hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, we got 1 more. Shake it out a little bit. And our last rep, raising up. Good, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Great. So now we're going to switch our emphasis a little bit. We're going to go into shoulder flexion. So we just did some work for shoulder extension. We're now going to work on this position, shoulder flexion. So we're going to use a prayer stretch. Again, we're going to use the bench to assist us. There's a couple different ways you can do this stretch. I'll show a few different options throughout the minute. So the first option, the option I like the most, will be both elbows on, hands touching the upper back, and then sinking into the stretch. Again, you'll probably feel a stretch through this armpit area, but aiming to keep that back nice and flat. I don't want to overarch my back like this. Just want to keep a nice flat back position as I stretch into this shoulder flexion position. I'm holding, again, exhaling, relaxing into this position. If this position is challenging for you, you can't get into this position, it's not comfortable, you can try straightening the arms and doing the same thing. So maybe scooting back a little bit, sinking the head through. Again, keeping that spine nice and straight. So obviously this position, we're still working on that shoulder flexion, just a little bit less length going through this armpit region. And then again, another option, instead of doing both arms at the same time, you can do a minute on each side, 1 at a time. Sometimes it's a little bit more comfortable for people. You can work on any asymmetries if you have them, but elbow comes on, arm is still behind the back, and now I'm stretching in this position. Same stretch as the first one I demonstrated, just 1 arm at a time. So I'm going to finish with both arms back on. I won't talk much in this position. It's not very easy to talk in this position, so I'm going to hold here. We'll go about another 20 seconds. Exhaling. Sinking into the stretch, not allowing the back to arch. Good. And again, this last part is optional. We're going to still be in this stretch position. If you want to just continue to hang out in the stretch position, that's okay. If you want to add some contractions, we can do so. Again, purpose being, we just want to gain more control in this end range position. So the first contraction, I'm going to push my elbow down into the bench. Second contraction, I'm going to try to lift my elbow away from the bench. But again, I'm in my end range position, so I probably won't be able to move much. But let's go ahead back to that stretch position. I'm holding, pressing down. We're going to hold for about 10 to 20 seconds. Good, now I'm going to reach my elbows away from the bench, try to pull them up, sink into this stretch position as I try to pull my arms away from the bench. And I'm holding 10 to 20 seconds. And relaxing. Good. So again, with these passive stretches, you have the option of just holding the entire time, or you can add those end range contractions on at the end of the rep. Okay, so we're going to continue to work on the shoulder flexion position. We're going to go to similar position that we did with the shoulder extension, but we're going to be in shoulder flexion. So we're going to be on the stomach. Arms are going to be in front instead of down at the side, but the movement's going to be very similar. You're going to lift up towards the ceiling. You're going to maximally hold for about 5 seconds, and then you're going to lower. So again, I lift, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I lower. Good. Try to minimize your head moving up or down while you do this position, contracting as much as you can on that back side of the shoulder. So again, lift up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down. Number 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, number 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. If you have to move the hands out just a little bit, that's okay. If you're up really close together, you might feel like you're shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears. We want to minimize that a little bit. So again, you might need to widen out just a tiny bit, just to have less compensation through those upper traps. So go ahead and lift on our last rep and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. So we're going to go back to that first drill we did. Just check in with ourselves. How did our range improve through this big shoulder circle? So I'm going to be here. We're just going to do about 3 this time. Maybe a little bit less clicking, a little bit less popping, a little bit smoother motion. Again, just checking in with my rib cage on that opposite hand, making sure I'm not compensating too much. And one more. Reaching up, reaching back, allowing that shoulder to rotate naturally. And I'm going to switch sides. Okay, finishing 3 on this side. Again, this feels a little bit easier for me. Allowing that shoulder to rotate naturally. And one more. Nice, slow, and control. Okay, so you can go through that sequence one more time just to get a little bit more of a loose shoulder, improve the mobility even a little bit more. You can also add on a little optional finish, which would be just a passive hang. So I'll show you real quick. I like my feet supported, just so I can really relax into the position. Again, you can just use a normal pull bar, anything that you can hang from, but you're just gonna hold, hang, feet supported, allow the shoulders to relax. You're just gonna hang for about a minute, okay? Again, sinking into this position, allowing the shoulders to open up. If you can't hang for a minute because your grip strength, that's okay. Just take a little break, shake out the hands, and then go ahead and just keep finishing up to, try to accumulate a minute. You don't necessarily have to hold for a minute straight. And good. Again, so if you would like, you can go ahead through that same sequence one more time. If you already feel pretty good, shoulders feel a little bit more mobile than when we started, great, end here for today.